Hi everyone, it's Man here, bringing you two more stories. I hope you guys enjoy it. I won't take any more time up, so without further ado, number one. I'm a female in her early 20s, scrawny little thing. I live alone with my 3-year-old daughter. We live in a 3-bedroom home with a large back section and a long driveway. One of the rooms is used for storage, and my daughter is slowly transitioning into sleeping in her own bed. On this particular night, she had a nightmare and had to crawl in the bed with me. I am utterly terrified of everything, really, so I absolutely hate living by myself. I get freaked out at the slightest noises outside, and they tend to keep me awake for at least half an hour while I try to determine whether or not it's a threat. It never is. I'm just horribly paranoid. Because of this paranoia, I make sure that all doors and windows are locked securely before I go to bed each night. This happened a couple days after Christmas. It was around 1 a.m. Nothing unusual for me. I'm quite the night owl, and I began hearing noises outside. I assumed it was a possum, as I had been having problems with him recently, but turned the laptop volume down to listen, just in case. My paranoid mind was informing me that since it was just after Christmas, someone might be trying to break in to steal presents. I heard scurrying in the grass, which went on for a while, back and forwards at the rear end of the house. I figured it was a bit strange that the possum wasn't making god-awful noises as usual. That's when the rattling started. The rattling started in the kitchen, moved round to my daughter's room, then mine, then finally the lounge. Someone was trying the windows. I grabbed my phone and slid out of bed, pressing my back up against the bedroom door. I could hear someone talking outside, which made me figure there was more than one person. As I was dialing the emergency services, I swear I heard footsteps inside the house. At this point, my heart was thumping so loud that my breaths came out of the same pattern. I'm on the phone with emergency services, trying to listen to what was going on, back pressed up against the door, fearing that the door handle would turn at any moment, and I'd be pushed along the ground as they forced the door open. There were still footsteps inside. I didn't know if it was just noises of the house, or whoever it was outside had managed to get in. They were coming from my daughter's room, which is right next to mine. My daughter, by the way, is quite happily sleeping, oblivious in my bed, while I'm on the phone freaking out to the operator. I was trying my best to keep quiet on the phone, as I knew the people were outside my window, right next to my room. I'm not sure if they heard me on the phone or if they had just given up, but they had disappeared before the police arrived. I was terrified to step out of my room when I heard them at the door, in case the people were still inside my house waiting for me. My bedroom door and the front door are only a couple of steps away from each other, but that didn't make it any less scary, as I threw it open and ran to the front door to unlock it. One officer stayed inside with me, checked the house, and took my statement, while the other checked from the outside. They both said they couldn't find anything and asked me to describe the voice. It was a male's voice, Indian accent. I told them either he was crazy and talked to himself, or there was more than one person out there. I told them I thought that they had managed to get inside, but since the police had done a thorough walk around, I guess it was just my mind freaking out. Needless to say, I didn't sleep at all the night, and as soon as the sun had rose, I was throwing open all the curtains. The lounge was the last place I went. As I opened the final curtain, I saw that the lock was open. There was a dirty footprint on the windowsill, and more dirt smeared on the carpet. I did a thorough check of my house. Nothing was taken, nothing was out of place, and the more I thought about it, the more I think the voice belonged to my ex. We're in court at the moment because he had done something to my daughter. That's a story for another time. Access was taken away from him, and he, or rather my aunt, shall I say, pushed him to take to the court, and things have been a bit sour. If it was him, I'm terrified to think what he wanted. He was physically and sexually violent towards me, but the fact of the matter is, he didn't even try my room. He went straight for my daughter's, which is even more worrying as I had never let him even remotely near my house. So how did he know where he was going? What did he want? What did he want with my daughter? What would happen if she had never had a nightmare and come crawling into my bed that night? Number 2. This is my first post on the sub. Gladly, I've only ever had one creepy encounter. One in this case to me, terrifying. It was about 2 years ago. I'm 25 now, and I was walking home from my friend's apartment around 3:30 to 4 in the morning. Now, the streets are creepy at night since there's no one really driving around except those sobering up Waterburger people, plant workers that are going to work, and police officers. In the 15 years I walked around town late at night, I never felt like I was in any danger. I live in a small city in Texas, and surprisingly, we're that exception where hate crimes and brutal crimes don't happen very often. Anyways, as I was barely going down the road from my friend's apartment, I saw an older white boxy looking van. I noticed it had a UPS logo on it. He slowed down and he looked like a normal guy in his late 20s, just doing his early morning routine. But it got really weird fast. He slowed down and asked me if I needed a ride. I said no and kept walking. He then asked my name, but I still ignored him. He then said, "Hey, hey." The second hey sounded like he was angry. He drove off though. He was headed in the opposite direction I was going. I looked back out of habit, and the next thing that happened made my heart beat so fast, and I instantly knew I should run. He whipped his car around very quickly and took off towards me. Luckily, I ran fast enough and hid behind a dumpster at a Radio Shack. I stayed there for at least 15 minutes. In that time, he had circled the block 3 times trying to find me. I was thinking to myself, how the hell are you trying to kidnap someone on the clock? And to be honest, I never thought about it till I started writing this. I realize now he wasn't a newspaper carrier at all. If he was, he wouldn't have had that on his car. He wouldn't have had anything on his car. I think this guy slapped on some decals to stalk people without being pulled over under suspicion. After I stopped seeing him, I called my girlfriend to come pick me up. Being a very small woman, 4 feet 11 inches, I was even more terrified. Luckily, I didn't ever see him again, and I made it home safe. Ever since then, I'm really against walking around at night by myself. You never know who the weird ones are. Creepy kidnapper? Fake carrier guy? Let's not meet again. Well, there's 2 stories, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed them. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below. I apologize, I haven't written anything, but I promise to get one out here pretty soon. Hope y'all enjoy. Electra Man signing off.